what's our approach with dealing with mudflation? We don't have any sort of a silver bullet yet. One thing that we're going to do, or one thing that we're attempting, is looking at the pace of progression, keeping that relatively slow. We've built in a ton of headroom, so the sort of inevitable mudflation that will occur hopefully is less impactful with time than if we were doing something that had a more accelerated progression pace. We've even compressed stats. So if you look here, we started with sort of a standard roughly 80-point allocation, give or take 20 points or something like that on the stats. We decided to compress that. We compressed it down to like a 10, and so it's like 1 to 10. Then after some discussion, like one of my concerns with doing 1 to 10 was then all of a sudden a +1 is like a 10% increase instead of potentially, if we're doing, I think max 20 at the moment, 5% increase in power. So it gives us slightly more granularity on scaling those items, but I think we're still going to be having some conversations about what it looks like to get those items and what the item distribution looks like. We're pretty okay with twinking and things of that nature, right? Like it's kind of fun to be able to see some of that mudflation in action, some of the trickle down effect of passing on those items. One thing that I really want to try, and this will be something that we've got to discuss as a team. Ali is an actual economist. I mean, that's his background before he became super farmer. And so one of the things I want to try is also put in a hell of a lot more drains for items in different ways. And so things like tribute and various factioning to pull some of the items out of the game. Our trade skill system will involve a decent amount of deconstruction as well to pull some of the items out of the game. We'll be playing with some of that, but like the idea of having, like I said, the idea of having a silver bullet ultimately for mudflation is kind of, in this type of game, I think it's beyond me, and we'll see what the team comes up with. So what we're going to try to do is instead just drain a lot and keep the pace of entry of those items into the economy pretty slow. In terms of regional prices, I don't believe so. We haven't discussed it. I haven't considered it. The craziest thing we may do is banks being specific to a location. I just watched something, I think you guys posted it or Nick posted it, somebody posted it, some video that was talking about the joys of there being regional prices and then transporting goods from place to place in order to basically turn a profit. In order for us to have something like that and have it not be just completely batshit broken, we'd also have to really have nailed the restrictions on how you transport things and made that something where all of a sudden it made sense, because the amount of effort of transporting something over to a different region in order to get the sort of that optimal price or get that profit then was fair because you put in the effort. Now we may say that there's a lot more regional items, right? And so it wouldn't necessarily be differences in region per price. But yeah, so factions and religion, and some things like some services, like if you're unable to retrieve a corpse after a certain amount of time, then it could be that you've basically got an option to have adventurers working for a certain temple or faction recover it for you. And it's pretty costly, and that cost would definitely be part of the thing. So there's some stuff like that we'll play around with.